With my AXL review uploaded, I think it's time for me to talk a little bit about the movie experience I had in the theater. And I haven't done one of these in a while, but this time in AXL, there was enough entertaining things in the audience that made actually the audience was more entertaining than the movie itself. Really, there's only two things that happened with the audience that was entertaining, but one of those things was very consistent throughout the movie, and that was the reactions this older lady had. Anyway, behind me and to the left was this older couple, and the older woman of that couple, she had a lot of reactions to the film. A lot of entertaining, kind of annoying reactions. Now, I don't know if it's because this older woman doesn't see a lot of movies, or maybe she sees a lot of movies in her house where she can react and speak out to, and so she's so used to that when she goes to the theater she has those same reactions. I'm not sure, but every time something jumped at the screen, every time that Axel pounced on someone, every time that he pounces and nearly misses a person, every time someone falls down or gets hit, she had the same reaction. The theater would be dead silent, and one of these things would happen that I mentioned before, and the woman would suddenly go, "Oh! Ooh! Oh! Ooh! Yee! Ah! Ooh!" It was so consistent. Every time someone got hit or someone narrowly dodges a punch or a pounce, or every time something went and jumped at the screen, she would yell out her oohs to the point where it felt like she said ooh about 20 times throughout this entire film. Hell, it was probably more than 20 times because she said 5 oohs in just one sequence alone, when towards the end, Axel and our main character was rolling down the hill for 3 minutes. Yeah, imagine a sequence where someone's rolling down a hill for 3 minutes straight, give or take. Probably less than that, but it felt like 3 minutes. And all of a sudden, this woman behind you is just going, "Ooh! Ooh! Ah! Ooh! Ooh!" I guess she just really felt their pain. The other little thing that happened in my screening was another person behind me, but to the right. There was a mother and I believe a teenage daughter that went to the film, or at least that seemed to be the age difference between the two. And it was during the sad moment of the film. And I better explain this sad moment just in case you didn't watch my AXL review, because this needs to be said. So, of course, spoiler warning, but you should always be warned when I talk about a movie experience, because sometimes I talk about the actual scene that had a reaction from the audience. So, just a little bit of setup before the actual sad scene, because there's one little thing that the sad scene does that makes it so bad, so awful, and that experience, that little bad thing, needs to be set up. Before our main character meets Axel, the robot dog, he gets tricked by a bully. Now, this bully lures our main character out into the middle of nowhere so that they could do some sweet jumps with their motorcycle. He lets our main character do a sick ride, a sick jump, and his buddies tape it and everything, and as he's going to the buddy that's filming everything, he gets distracted, and then the bully starts putting, I think, energy drink in the motorcycle's, is it the fuel tank or something? And so while the bully's buddy is videotaping our main character, the guy goes, "What do you want to say to the viewers?" And so our main character goes, "Send it," and then goes on a jump, crashes, and then the bully and the bully's friends leave him out in the middle of nowhere with just enough gas to get home and a duffel bag full of clothes, I guess. The reason this setup is important is because of, surprisingly, what our main character says before he goes on the jump, because he says, "Send it," and the dog sees the video, mimics the main character's words, and "send it" becomes the dog's catchphrase, which he says only 3 times during the entirety of this movie. That includes the time he says it during the sad scene. And so the sad scene in this movie is our main character and Axel are running from the military. And as they're running, well, Axel's running and our main character's on his motorcycle. They're going down a road and Axel sees that there's a cliff up ahead and tries to warn our main character by sending the warning through the main character's helmet visor. But he doesn't seem to care because both of them just completely run off the cliff and tumble down this really steep hill. It's more of a steep hill than a cliff, for about 3 minutes, and that's when our older lady behind me said "ooh" about 5 times during their tumble. Now our main character, he breaks his arm because of this, and then Axel stays next to him by his side, and the main character is yelling, "Go, go, run before they catch you," you know? And Axel stays for a little bit and then runs, because he has to follow our main character's orders. So Axel is trying to run away, and these Hornet drones, which are made by the same company that made Axel, attach to Axel and start shocking him and trying to stun him. And Axel stops. A helicopter from the military is coming in to capture him. And Axel has this self-destruct protocol that if fallen into enemy hands, he'd self-destruct so that the enemy can't have him or make others like him. And so as the military is closing in, Axel turns to our main character and says, "Send it," before exploding in slow motion and sad music playing during this sequence. And that is our sad moment of our Axel robot self-sacrificing, I guess, in order to save the human, which really, I guess that's not really the case. Now look, I don't mean to be cold-hearted, but this movie really doesn't develop the dog or our main character or either of their bond with each other to the point where it makes me not really care about either of them. And so, because it's not developed, because the bond and the heart of this movie isn't established, then it makes that sad scene just worthless. And right after that sequence, I had to suppress my laughter, honestly, because the fact that the dog turns around and says, "Send it," and then blows up, just makes it feel more like a parody, but this movie is being serious about that. And while I'm trying to suppress my laughter, suddenly I hear something from the teenage girl to the right behind me. And at first I thought it sounded like she was trying to suppress laughter as well, but as I was listening more closely to her, it sounded more like sobs. And so I turn around slightly, look over my shoulder, and sure enough, this teenage girl is just bawling her eyes out. And I'm just thinking, really? That seriously made you sad? What? Really? Maybe she's crying about something else. That's always possible. Or maybe she's a big dog lover, and then anything dealing with a dog dying or any sort of animal, maybe that's just immediately sad for her, no matter if she knew the dog or knew the animal or if they developed the animal. But for me, it needs to be developed, it needs to have some personality, it needs to really establish itself for me to care about a creature like that, especially a robotic dog that really doesn't show any sort of personality or develop any sort of evolution in order to make it seem like it's more than just a robot. Again, maybe she just can easily relate or feel emotions for something robotic that isn't established or developed all that well, just simply because it's the shape of a dog. Whatever the case is, she was sobbing behind me, and I just thought, oh my God, really? That's sad? That's not sad, it's lame and dumb. But again, ultimately, this movie was actually pretty boring to sit through. And if it wasn't for the audience reactions that I just told you, this would have been a bore fest. The audience was far more entertaining than the actual movie. Well, that was my AXL movie experience. If you saw AXL, did anything weird or bizarre or anything happen to you? Probably not, because it seems that most people that have seen AXL were either completely alone or had very little audience members seeing it. But anyway, is there any weird experiences that happened to you in the movie theater? Something funny, something annoying, something bizarre? Go ahead and leave a comment. And if you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe and check out my movie experiences, my movie reviews, or countdowns, whatever you want to see. As always, this is Bruce Gifford, and thanks for watching.